video I'm going to talk a bit about JST connectors that you might want to use or have to use on your micro quad. That is my Leader 120. That's a 2S quad primarily, and that is my home built Fire. I think that's the 150 on there. That one runs primarily off of 3S's batteries, but as you can see, they've both got JST battery connectors on the thing. A lot of people are now saying that you probably don't really want to be using JST connectors on there. There is a limitation of the connector on the number of amps you can actually draw, and where possible you should be using these things, XT30s. Now if you get the option to change things out, you can change them out. I could change it out quite nicely on that one, and I have got batteries which I can use them. They are the Gaoneng, I think people were calling them. That's a 450, and I've got some 550s, but that's nice because you get two options on there. The reason I haven't changed them out is I've got quite a lot of these things now. Unfortunately, it's covered up and you can't really read it, but these are the Nanotech, I'm not sure what they are. They're a 450 on there, but they've got a nice high C rating on there, and I've got a few of these, so I've been using these on my quads for some time. So you get the options on 3S to jump to XT30s. On 2S, you're probably going to be stuck with the JST. The problem I was finding was if you buy JST connectors pre-made, you will get probably 20 gauge wire on the things. You might get 22 or 24, and it's very small and it's not particularly great. So I went out and looked for buying some 18 gauge JST pigtails, and you can buy them, but they're often about £4 or £5 for one of these things. So I thought I'd see if I can show people how to make them. They're not particularly difficult to do, but you do need, there is a bit of a knack to the things. So if you go onto eBay, you can buy JST connector packs. You can get some 18 gauge wire on the things. Now, I'm going to tell everybody that these are female because of the way the holes are. Every now and then people will turn around and say, oh, actually they're male because the pins are the male things. These are on my eBay listing as female, but do make sure you order the right things. You say you want the opposite of your batteries, basically. So start off, what you'll actually need is your 18 gauge wire. I'm trying to do this on my camera phone as I'm actually doing it. And you're going to actually need to take off a tiny amount at the end. I mean, let's see if I can get this on. I'm going to take off, let's see if that will go. Not very much at all on the end of there. In fact, I probably haven't even taken off enough. Let's just take off a tiny, tiny bit more. Come on, you devil. I think I'm going to make, I really made a pig's ear of that. I'm going to probably tidy that up ever so slightly off camera, but that should have been easier than it was done. Yeah, you don't need very much wire sticking out the end, to be quite honest, and it will get in your way if you do. So twist that up so you've got a nice tight end on the thing. You're then going to get one of your pins and basically just fold it backwards and forwards on the end. And where did I put my wire? So it's fun doing this on the camera. You're going to actually push this into, let me just pause this for a moment. Right, unpaused. Word of warning to YouTube people who wants to record things. If you need glasses to do close-up work, do remember to bring your glasses. So what I'm actually going to do is push that into the very end set of connectors. My finger's in the way. Let's see, so you're going to push that into there. I'm going to push it nicely home, and then I'm going to use my pliers to basically just pinch that in so it stays in place. Now, the one thing you may have to actually buy is a set of these sort of crimper things. These are eBay specials. I'm not sure what they actually cost me now. They're probably going to be the most expensive thing you actually buy for this job. I've got two sets of openings. I want to go into the bigger set over on my right. I'm going to turn it round for a moment. And I'm going to come in from that side, and I'm going to actually go into that set there. I'm actually going to go through, again it's very difficult to do this and watch at the same time. I'm going to put the join, so the open end, down, and I'm actually going to, I'm really going to not do this with my hands at the same time. I'm actually going to line up the wire so the wire just shows outside the crimpers, and it's going to be just too dark on there. So the wire is just outside the crimpers and the actual connectors on the inside. Everything's the open part's facing down. I'm going to push that in and squeeze that nice and hard. Right, so that's actually the crimping done. Now, what I'm actually going to do now is give this a quick look over and see how this looks. It's not too bad. And I'm actually going to squeeze it. Let's bring it down on the side. I'm going to squeeze it on the sides so it eases in. Now, also, you may just about notice that there's a tiny little blob sticking upwards. That's not too bad, but we will get rid of that. The problem with these 18 is they are very, very tight to go into these things. Now, you then get your sleeve. Now, get your battery, check the slot lines up, slide that into there. Right, so we are now looking at the side of the sleeve with, again, you probably can't see it, there's actually the JST label on there. So as I'm looking at it, the red is on the top. So, right, take that out for a moment. Now, again, we look in here, and if you see inside, there's a tiny little indentation. So it's saying that tiny little thing on the top of there wants to go in there. So you push that in. And what we're probably going to need, which is something else I haven't got, is some sort of screwdriver or something like that to push this down and in. Don't do it against your hand. You will dig into your fist and actually cause blood. Right, so let me just pause that again, and I'm going to do this off camera. So what I'm going to try and do is just literally push that down in there a bit. Hey! Well, that's not supposed to happen, folks. So that's actually going to be a complete failure. Okay, let's try again. Right, due to the magic of editing, that is now fixed. That one's actually dead. So I've managed to push that in there and not get it to lock well enough. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to be able to remove that pin, so that's probably just to be thrown away now. So that's actually in there. Let's see if we can do better on the red. So a moderate amount. You only need about a millimetre and a half sticking out the end. If you get more than that, you haven't really got much for the clip to attach to. So twist it up so it's nice and tight. Grab my pins, which have disappeared over the back. Grab one of them pins, fold them over, and say that goes back in there. Say you want the long ones at the end to actually engage with the plastic. Squeeze them tight. Grab your crimper. They come in from, if you've got the crimper around this way, come in from the right in the back set with the wire not where the actual plastic part of the wire just showing. Put that in there nicely and squeeze it all the way home till it releases. Pinch it together with your pliers. So just trying to get a good position. If you've got any sticking out the top, take that off. If you don't take this bit off, it's just generally quite tight to get into your housing. This is 18 gauge wire. It's about as good as you're actually going to get. It's probably about the thickest wire you're actually going to get on these things, which will actually go into the housing. So make sure that's around the right way. spacers, double checking. Push that in there. And again, we want a nice tiny little screwdriver. What you're actually trying to do is get onto the silver part and just push it home in there until it actually goes in and effectively goes click, so we don't get what we got another black one where it pulls out. Brilliant. So you've got two of those. We haven't got any power in at the moment. We're just double checking. So that is, come on, go in there, you devil. That's correct. We've got red and black on there. So what you're going to get here is you're going to have 18 gauge wire rather than the 2022 that they do sell you, going into these pins. I did some reading up. There seems to be, JST seems to be rated for about 10 or 12 amps, which is quite strange actually, because the on-screen displays on some of these things say that they're going to be drawing sort of 18, 20 or so. So maybe it's a burst rating, but say the extra wire will actually help. If you get the option, you want to be really using XT30s. I'm not sure if you can see. XT30s are easy enough to do. They're just like an XT60, solder them up. Be careful when you buy them. I stupidly bought the ones with bullet connectors on the end. They'll be all right if you've got a board which you can push these through. So you sit them on top of the board and you solder underneath and you just solder onto them. But for soldering into wires, you actually want the traditional ones where you get a sort of cutout that your solder will actually sit in. These aren't overly great. But yeah, so making your own JST wires is easy enough. And then just sort of cut them to 2 or 3 inches for your mini quads on there, but that'll do you. So the most expensive thing that you'll actually have to buy is your crimpers on there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.